This is a clip from a video back on June the 13th. What I was doing here is I wanted to get a head start on this sickle pod patch that had taken over the corner of this field. Soil conditions were too wet to get out there with the tractor and the boom, and so I went at it with the backpack sprayer to knock the stuff down. Now the field was sprayed again eventually when the soil dried out and I could get on it. I want you to notice that telephone pole. That's kind of your landmark for some of the rest of the video clips that are stuck on the rest of this, to show you how beneficial it was to get out there with that backpack sprayer and get a head start on this sickle pod. This video was shot on July the 22nd. I was blessed with a really nice cool morning, so I decided to go out and take a look at the breakthrough water hemp pigweed that I had noticed in this area just driving by it. I went ahead and looked at it and decided I'd better hand pull it because it had started to make seed. The seed was actually in the early stage, and I'm a firm believer, don't spray weeds that have started to make seed. Might have been okay, but I didn't want to take the chance. I found a few, and at this point I'd already pulled them and removed them, and I'll show you their location a little bit later in this video. But now I'm just looking to see, what else I might see down there that needs to be tended to. Spreading some of the plants apart so I can actually see the ground right there. Got a little drone fly over here to look at the canopy from the top side to see how it looked. Got a little spot here where some little creature right there is eating lunch and dinner, but it's not as bad as it has been in the past. And what I'm focusing in on right here is the pile of water hemp pigweed that I had pulled up that had seed on it. It'd been laying there for a couple of hours and had already wilted a little bit by the time I had a coffee break and then got back up here to shoot this video. Got out there and got serious about working, and left the camera in the truck and just got this job done. I don't know, I didn't count them, but I was glad to get them out of there and be done with it. This field looks a whole lot better without those things sticking up screaming at me. Hey, I'm going to spread weed seed all over your land. It's my job. And if you leave me out here, I'm going to grow a big enough stalk to break something on your combine. Here's where I decided to get a little bit of camera on the beneath the canopy. I've done this before in previous years. And there's a lot of, the lower leaves on the plants die before the plant itself actually dies. They lose the ability to get sunlight, so they break and fall off. I still saw with this view scattered small amounts of the sickle pod that had so heavily infested this corner of this field, robbing me of the yields that could have been. There were one or two morning glories that I spotted, but praise God I didn't see any more of that stinking water hemp pigweed stuff. It's kind of interesting watching from the underneath view with a camera like that. And I was getting ready to put it all in the truck, and I thought I would take now that's filmed on a Samsung S9 phone. Sitting on a tripod, just doing a real slow pan across that area. Later in the evening, late afternoon, I was sitting on the front porch with a coffee and a cigar, and I thought I'd take the drone and get up high and we'd take a look at the corner of that field that this earlier part of the video. There it is right there. Just really, really nice. I think that planter did a fine job. Very, very pleased. And then I thought, well, okay, I've showed it once. Let's go take another look at it. So we're looking straight at the 6 acre field over on the back side of the farm where I've already talked about the problems with that planter. So I'm headed over there. We'll go take a look, get a little comparison. There's the corn over on the right side of the screen. And I start to just kind of fly around it, still at a relatively high altitude here, enjoying my coffee and my cigar. It's nice to be able to sit on the front porch and look all over your farm like this. And I've actually found out you can scare deer out of a field with that drone. They're terrified of the noise. So here I decide, well, let's get down close and see what we can see, get a little better view. With that forest blocking reception, I can only get down about 45 feet off the ground. If I get much lower than that, the reception gets so poor that I can actually lose control of the drone. Now, the drone will just stop flying and sit still until it reestablishes control, or the timer time point times out and it decides to do a return to home. And with return to home altitude set at 290 feet, it'll clear all the trees. That view is showing me that the scattered plants that have got plenty of room are bushing out. I've actually walked over there and looked at it. So it's going to make a lot of beans. I'm pleased. And going across this way, you can see that pattern skip. The planter that had the wrong disc in it was out on the end, and you can see how it went down and turned around right back next to itself. But they're going to bush out, make a whole bunch of soybeans, and that field's going to pay for itself and probably put enough money in the bank to buy seed to go back on that field next year. Although I'm thinking about asking Cousin to go to the far north side where the red clay is at and do a corn project like he's done for me over on the 2 acre piece, and as well as that corn that you see that I'm headed towards now. The picture that you get back on the phone when you're flying is nowhere near as clear as what's stored on the memory card in the drone. So I always pull the card out and stick it in the PC. And I did some spraying the day before in that corner, and I could start to see it brown up. And another grassy spot, I'll probably go over there and hit that. Second, I'll take a look at this. It really looks cool to me going across there looking at that corn, how straight those rows are. Cousin planted that with another planter that he put together specifically for planting corn. I think that planter, I don't remember for sure, but I think it was a 4-row planter that he put together there. And that's when I went, oops, tree, stop, and caught it just in the nick of time, threw it in full reverse thrusters there. And of course, anybody that knows about the camera mount on a DJI, and they know I'm flying sideways where you don't have any type of sensor protection on the DJI Mavic Air 2. You got front, you got rear, but not sideways. Sideways is a dangerous way to fly, but you get some interesting camera angles like that. So here I go across here, and then I remember reaching over for my coffee, taking my eyes off the screen for a split second, and watching that on the screen of my phone was not pretty. Oh well. The drone fought with the tree for a bit, and then I thought, okay, give it the land command. Maybe, just maybe, it'll stop fighting with the tree and land itself. Praise God. I gave it the land command, and sure enough, that drone landed itself, stopped fighting with the tree. See the camera looking down, that's a part of its determining where it's going to do for landing. But I jumped up, put on some shoes, got in the truck, drove over there, used the feature Find My Drone, and found it sitting on the ground. Got some prop damage, but I replaced those, and I've still got a drone.